Everybody, welcome to the Purple Friday show, live from the hammock here. Trey and Travis and myself here live. Yeah, we were actually at the training camp that was last Friday, August 2nd, I think it was. Um, it's August 2nd or 3rd,
Mm.
I can't remember the
I think
day.
it was a second.
It was
Yeah.
hot,
Yeah,
it
second.
was humid, but we were there. Um, I'm glad they didn't have us move because I know a couple years ago, there was, I think, you had to go from one section or whatever seating to another section of seating. Like there was a break in between and they switched fields and stuff. They didn't have us do that this time. Everything was on one field for us to see. Um, start off with you guys. What did you see, at practice that either you liked, disliked, stuff you saw that was like, that's okay. Like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's practice in front of fans. They're not going to show up too much. What did you see?
From what I saw, I mean, I think we saw a really, really good practice. I mean, for the most part, it was pretty clean. We didn't see the ball hit the ground too much at all. So the receivers looked decent, for the most part. We couldn't really get a feel for a lot of the line work, whether it be offensive or defensive, because it wasn't a padded practice or anything like that, and they were kind of running half speed. More so like a walkthrough, I would say. We didn't get like too many one on ones either. I think we caught some at the end, but outside of that, I think um we saw a practice that didn't set off any alarms or anything like that. I mean, everybody looked pretty good for the most part. We had a few splash catches and things like that from Isaiah Likely, and the tight ends looked good. Our new receiver Tez Walker. Is that his name, Tez Walker?
No,
Or
Dante. Yeah, Tez.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Tez Walker.
He
Yeah.
he he looked pretty good from what I saw. Even Kadir, Kadri's son, looked pretty good out there. He's one of the tallest guys we have on on the team. I'm not sure how he's going to fare out yet, but hopefully, he surprises us in the preseason. We'll see. We'll see this week, and maybe I would say the one downside from being there was not really seeing much of Rashad Bateman coming through in a positive light. I mean, we've been talking about this Lamar Bateman connection in the offseason a lot. And from what we've been hearing before we went to the practice, it didn't sound like it was going too well. And when we got to the practice, we kind of saw a few of those misses deep down the field. One looked like it was probably Bateman's fault, just the way he got out of his route and didn't really run full speed to get the catch. But there was another missed opportunity as well. I can't remember exactly what part of practice it was, but that was like the one downside. But I mean, we're still talking about kind of more of a laid back, more practice itself. It wasn't like too much into it, but overall, I think it was a good practice. I like what I seen. For the most part, I like that we got to meet a couple of the players and things like that, and yeah, I'm just happy I got my football sign, man. That's all I cared about at the end of the day. I kind of forgot everything that happened once I got that signature from Lamar and Roquan and all of them. But everybody looked good, man. No complaints. It's still a lot to be seen. I'll say that. We'll get more answers on Friday.
Yeah, I enjoyed practice, but first, I want to give a shout out to the Ravens just for making a great experience.
Hmm.
There's a lot of teams on the NFL that do not take training camp seriously. I mean, I saw Dallas's training camp practice, and like they're practicing on a high school field, not many fans there. Not a great experience, but the Ravens, I mean, they treated you good. Like we had sunscreen stations,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
water
What a
stations. We got a
station.
lot of gifts, some hats, food trucks, stuff for the kids, so they wouldn't bother us.
Hmm.
So I mean, they had the whole shebang. So big shout out to the Ravens for just putting effort in on the experience. But practice wise, I mean, it's not much to say about like the O line, D line because they weren't really going full speed there. But I think there was a lot to be encouraged by just in the 7-on-7 periods and just seeing how we were throwing the ball and honestly seeing the schemes that were drawn up. I'm seeing more use of the wheel route, not from the
Hmm.
running backs, but from wide receiver. I think it was like a slant wheel combo I kept seeing them work on. So that's encouraging because that's something we didn't see in the past. Just creative combinations. Um, I was really impressed with the Lamar Zay connection. Likely out there one-handing passes per usual.
Mhm.
Really excited about him as a weapon. Kyle Hamilton looked good. Marlon Humphrey looked real good.
Yeah.
Everybody looked really good at the skill positions. Lamar was throwing the ball pretty well. I think, there was only a couple misses, and I mean, to be honest, it was the Bateman. But he looked, I mean, he was throwing dots. I mean, we kept talking about like, oh, that was a dot, that was on the money. Like Lamar looked like he had recovered from his annual illness. So it was just good to see everything. I mean, the energy was cool. It's good to see what was it, Pepe Williams. He was dance battling Justin Tucker, which is good because Pepe may not be here in a month, but it's good to have that energy in training camp, just to break up the monotony. So there's a lot to feel good about just watching training camp. I mean, I have my guys that I'm just really excited about, but I wanted to see more from like Owe. So maybe we'll see it at some point in the preseason. Maybe we'll play in one of these preseason games. But outside of that, the only thing I can really say is Derrick Henry looks slim big. Pause. But but I mean, he looks like a monster out there. Just seeing him sized up against the rest of the guys. So I'm really excited about this season. Really excited.
Yeah, like you said, the experience is good. I mean, like it's not a lot of teams that actually have like with their headquarters also have a training facility. I'm kind of talking to you Bengals fans. I think they got to practice at University of Cincinnati with all the money that they have over there, and they got to practice at the college football field. So but yeah, like so they had you saw the staff out there had the neck fans and stuff, and Trey told me the thing I've been carrying around for 2 years that I thought was just like, oh, it's just a roster thing. No, this is a fan. Oh, I'm carrying this thing around like this.
You gotta
2
fold it
years.
up.
Like, made it a lot easier to carry around. So I learned that. So yeah, my son enjoyed it. He's still not really. He understands what football is, but not really there yet. But he knows who the Ravens are, so that's all that matters. Yeah, it looked like the guys were having fun out there. Like Lamar, even between like plays and stuff, and they were trying to, I guess, they were scrimmaging and doing like 4-minute drills and 2-minute drills and stuff. And Lamar would, fake out different defensive players and stuff and act like he was running past them. So they were joking around, having a good time. That said, that one pass I think they showed to Zay. I think they have it on the Ravens on their, at least on their X page, where it was like that fade route or whatever to Zay, and I think he was, I don't know if it was a cornerback like right there next to him and the safety right up top, and Lamar just puts it. I mean, you couldn't put that pass there any better. Like that was so that was nice to see accuracy on a deep route, especially a route that's not straight down the field, something more towards the sideline, which he said, Lamar had to work on. Again, prior to us getting there, we did hear that the Bateman Lamar connection hasn't been great. But then I think that Monday after they get back, I think they said for Monday and Tuesday, Lamar and Bateman seem to start clicking in the game. They started several catches coming Bateman's way. So at the end of the day, I think it's from what we saw, like you said, Travis, we're not going to see much from the D line and the linebackers as far as like rushing the passer and things like that. We did get to see again this secondary, if it remains healthy, is going to be dangerous. As far as they look very aggressive in the secondary, like they're going for turnovers, they're going for takeaways. I think they saw that success last year, and like we're going to keep on doing that. And it feels like Zach Orr is keeping that mindset, definitely with that secondary. Obviously, we saw Arthur Millette is dealing with a knee scope situation, so he's going to be out. They said he's going to miss probably a month, probably the whole September, it sounds like, but nothing long term. But at least gives opportunity now to was it Ardarius Washington, who's there, the other guy from Alabama, I can't remember his name now.
Jalen Armour Davis?
Jalen Armour Davis.
Jalen
Yeah.
Armour.
So they've been saying these guys have been having really good camps. Friday, they've already said, I think we said like it's going to be raining. Looks like it's going to be raining all day for the game. So it's like, they'll be playing in bad weather, but we'll be able to see how well they're doing. The one thing they did say that is still concerning right now is offensive line and where's the pass rush coming from. we thought that, with Ajabo looks like being healthy for the most part, and Owe kind of, bulking up a little bit, kind of taking on that Jadeveon Clowney role, he was going to be moving into that kind of role for the team. And it doesn't appear like Ajabo is like flashing in camp when it comes to getting to the quarterback. It doesn't appear that he's wowing anybody right now. Even the people that are there watching, they're just like, it doesn't seem like it's there. It doesn't seem like it's there. Again, they can't run. They're not running full scrimmage because they don't want to hurt Lamar. Even though Harbaugh said, what was it, a couple weeks ago, like, yeah, I got to tell my team to calm it down, when it comes to rushing the quarterback and stuff. And I'm like, we didn't really see that, I guess, that kind of, intensity from the line out there for the most part. But it did show, like, the fact that they were going after, was it Connor Williams the last couple of days? I think he ended up signing with the Seahawks, I believe. So he was the center for Miami. He was pretty well graded, but I think he wanted to continue to play center. I don't think he wanted to move back to guard, and that's why I think he left. He didn't sign with us. So signing him shows that trying to get him in the building was, I think, showing that they even have a little bit of – they're not totally comfortable with everybody that's in the building right now. And, look, I think there's still a possibility that if, Ajabo, if they're not comfortable with Ajabo going forward or being their pass rusher, I think there's still could be some moves potentially being made. Like, there's still some guys out there. There are going to be some camp cuts. There are going to be some guys that, some rookies that if they show out, in a certain position, those guys could be on their way out and looking for a new home. So we still got 30 something days or whatever until the next game, till game week 1. So there's still some time to get this, get this moving. I think as far as what the team's going to look like for the Ravens. Other than that, though, I think Lamar definitely looked slimmer. Definitely looked a lot slimmer. It was interesting to hear him talk, I think, yesterday and did an interview talking about how he didn't feel like he felt overweight. He didn't look it, but he said he to himself, he felt like he was overweight. He felt like he was slowing down. He felt like he's like, because I think even he didn't say what play, but I think we all know what play, where he's in open field and he gets caught, and it's like Lamar knows, is like, man, and he's used to not getting caught. It's like I'm not used to, and I would feel like the only reason I get caught is because either somebody's in front of me and I can't get past them, or I run out of bounds. Like, that's the only way you're going to catch me. Yeah. So I think he admitted, he wants to be more involved, I think, in the running game this year, especially with Derrick Henry involved. We keep hearing what this running attack is possibly going to look like with Lamar Jackson. I'll pose this question to you guys real quick. So there's still a lot they have to do. They have to incorporate Likely into this offense, right? We did see some formations out there where they had Andrews and had Likely out there, and they were mostly run plays, but they at least were having them on the field at the same time. But trying to reincorporate what they did 2 years ago, because remember, this offense looked totally different last year. Trying to incorporate a little bit more of the Greg Roman scheme into this, if Lamar has lost the weight and feels a little bit faster with Derrick Henry, now you have an elite running back there. Do you feel like the game plan changes, or do you kind of feel like there's a way to kind of blend the two together and still have an effective offense going into this season?
I think the latter, what you said. I think they have to find a way to find the right balance. I think they attempted this last season, but I think their issue was always consistency in the game plan, and that's obviously what kind of killed us in that Chiefs game in the AFC Championship. So I think you do have to kind of figure out a way to incorporate both of those and just get better at game planning situational football. At the end of the day, obviously with Derrick Henry being added, we want to definitely make that a focal point in our offense, and we want to be able to do great things off of that focal point, whether we're handing him the ball or whether we're doing a play action or whatever the case may be. But I think we definitely need to still incorporate both. I mean, we don't want to move backwards into a Greg Roman offense, because I mean, we kind of see what the limitations are with that. But at the end of the day, our running component of that offense was elite. So absolutely we want to maintain a lot of that as far as just being able to incorporate it. But we just have to just be smarter with just game planning the offense in general. So I don't think we take steps back for it just because we got Derrick Henry, but I do think we still try to incorporate it. Kind of what we attempted to do last season, like I said, but just this season we need to kind of fine tune that. I don't want them to come out and look exactly like we did last year. They're going to have to just get a little bit more creative with that process. And seeing as though we didn't really sign an additional, all-star receiver, we're it looks like we're rolling with who we have with the addition of Russell Gage as well. So we're rolling with what we got. We are going to see a lot of Andrews and likely on the field at the same time again this season. But what does that look like with Derrick Henry also in the backfield as well? So, I think, they have to build on kind of what we started last year, but we have to take it to a whole nother level. And I think the key is being consistent in what we're going to do, what the game plan is, what the purpose of it is. And we just don't want to abandon any part of the game. We don't want to abandon the run game just because we're down 3 points or the game's tied or whatever the case may be. We don't want to abandon the pass game either when it's time for it. We just have to be smarter in that sense. So I think it's a blend of both, but we just got to be smart.
Absolutely. The thing with having, so much talent is how to use it effectively. And I see an opportunity to keep Lamar healthy and not utilize him. I think a lot of times when we're trying to close out games, we use Lamar as we would have used that big cowbell running back. Like, this is the guy that's going to wear you down at the end of games. And that may not be the best thing for him long term. And when you have a guy like Derrick Henry in there, that's your guy that can close out those games, make sure we don't blow these fourth quarter leads. And I think, that's a great way to utilize him in this situation. Lamar's going to do his thing. He's going to make big plays. He's gonna wow the crowd. He's gonna move us down the field. He's getting so much better as a passer. But I think, as we get down the stretch with the season, as we get to the playoffs, you really have to lean on Derrick Henry. And I think that's going to be his role, to close out games, to punish defenses, and to keep our defense off the field. And I think that's going to be how we utilize him. That's going to have to be how we utilize him. We have weapons. We have guys we can get in space. But the thing that's been lacking, and the thing where Gus Edwards declined, is being able to close out games for us and keep our defense off the field and move those chains. And that's how you're going to use him. Lamar shouldn't be the guy to do that. He can do it, but that's not the guy you want to do that. You want him to be able to make the plays and get the ball in the hands of your playmakers.
And plus, at some point, Keaton Mitchell will be back, in this offense, hopefully past, I guess, week 8, week 9. I guess what they're predicting. So that's going to definitely change how they're, if you can really have that thunder and lightning aspect like they used to have when we had, Willis McGahee and Ron McClain and Ray Rice and then running in the backfield. Like, if they can really have that thunder and lightning aspect where you can have, if you have two guys that can legit break off 25, 30-yard runs at any given moment, like, that's the one thing, like you said, I think that Gus could not provide, is that he's consistent in giving you those 4 or 5 yards, but that's now about as all he's going to get you. Now, he was a little bit effective, in the pass game a few times, when he would catch the ball in the backfield, but he wasn't utilized. That's not really his role. But I think if Keaton gets back into this role, you can really have, and we saw in training camp, there was a couple plays where they had Derrick Henry in the flat or something, or, wheel route or whatever to catch the ball down the field. So they could potentially utilize him that way as well, getting him in open space and just letting him get that 4 or 5 yards to get running and just run through people. So it will be interesting to see how this offense looks. I think it's going to look a little shaky. The first few weeks is, again, they're going to be trying different things because you know how preseason is. They don't really have the starters out there. They don't want them to get hurt. So week 1 against the Chiefs, we're going to probably see a lot of this. We're going to be seeing a lot of different looks and stuff from this team, I think, in this game, in that first game. So also the Ravens picked up Russell Gage. They signed him to the wide receiver core. He was coming off of, was it torn patella last season? He got injured in training camp, didn't play the whole season. So he's coming in here. He was a solid, I guess, this is a number 3 because the one got Mike Evans, and then they had they had another guy besides Russell Gage.
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin.
Chris
So
Godwin.
Russell Gage
Yeah.
was like that third guy
Yeah.
on the team. So he's coming in, obviously off a knee injury, didn't play all last year. He should be healthy for the most part. Again, he came into camp after we got, we saw it, so we didn't really get to see him out there. He posted the last 2 healthy years he did were 426 yards in 2022 with Tampa, and then in Atlanta he did 770 yards in 21, and then in 2020 786 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns in those 3 years. So kind of looks like to me maybe that Russell Gage, that Nelson he maybe goes in that Nelson role this year, where he's kind of more of a red zone target. He did get 700 yards, so he did, he was getting the ball for sure. I think that with Lamar's offense and them wanting to spread the ball around, I don't think they can't have enough wide receivers at this point. They know guys are good, especially looking at Bateman's injury history with the foot and stuff, that, they got to have somebody just in case, somebody goes down. So I think even if Nelson goes down, you at least have somebody that's a similar player that they can go ahead and use in this offense. Again, I don't know how they're going to use him. I think he's more of that fourth option. As far as the depth chart, I think it showed as of right now, it's Zay, Bateman, and Tylen that are the 3, and then Nelson Agholor is the 4. So I was surprised to see Tylen at the 3
over Nelson.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. With so maybe he's having a pretty good camp right now. We kind of only saw him really was it returning punts. They're doing the kick return, punt return simulations in practice. But if he's on the 3rd on the depth chart right now.
Hey, man, a lot of people were demanding autographs from him at camp, man. Yeah. Maybe they know something that we don't know.
Right.
And just to throw another update, I don't know what's going on with the receiver position right now, but the Ravens are expected to sign Anthony Miller, wide receiver.
Yeah, Anthony. Okay, I remember Anthony Miller. Yeah,
I think he's like 29 years old right now. Played last season with the Chiefs. I don't know too much about him. I think he played with the Bears at some point.
Yeah, he was a return guy.
Yeah, so we signed him. So maybe they're trying to figure out that returner situation still. But looks like they're expected to sign him. He's not. I don't think he's all locked up right now. But just the receiver room is, it seems like you're bringing in a couple of guys. Like I said, it could be just
could be camp.
In preparation, preseason, training camp, stuff like that. So just something to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see too. I think once this we saw the kickoff, how it looks in the Hall of Fame game. So I think with how close everybody is, there is a lot of opportunity for guys just to be gone. Like, it's going to be a lot of opportunities, I think, for kick return touchdowns this season. I think the NFL saw, while they wanted to cut down on injuries and stuff, they were like, it's still an exciting part of the game. We don't necessarily want to take it away. So this is maybe a better way to kind of still make it a very integral part of the game. And I'm pretty sure special team whizzes and stuff will be able to conjure up some schemes or something, that blocking protections and stuff like that, to create lanes for guys to just run right through. Like it's gonna, it'll legit be just a kicker back there by himself. So it's like, if you got that much, space to the end zone, and literally the kicker's the only one stopping you. So it's an opportunity there. I think, again, we've been saying it for a few years now. I feel like it's the one thing that the Ravens have been missing on this team is that X factor in special teams outside of Justin Tucker, having that return guy that can shorten the field or get 6. When Jacoby Jones, rest in peace, Jacoby Jones, when later in that season when we won the Super Bowl, he was dynamic. Like, he was not necessarily, he wasn't there scoring touchdowns every time, but he was definitely shortening the field and just creating that extra energy in the state, especially a home game, that extra energy, that would that you would need, to go forward in the game. So I think that if they can, they've been trying for years since Jacoby left. Since Jacoby retired from the race and left the Ravens, they've been trying to find somebody to take over that return specialist role. They've been literally just going down the line of players trying to, can he do it? No, he can't do it. Can he do it? He can't do it. And it's like, or, they do it one time and they can't do it consecutive times. They're not good enough to do it multiple times. So it's, hopefully they figure that part out. We'll see if they figure that part out this year for sure. But On to potentially, all the news everybody's talking about right now. Ayuk, apparently there's been framework that has been decided upon, at least a package agreement, or at least compensation for Ayuk to the Steelers to like sign long term. However, the 49ers have basically said they haven't agreed on any package deals from, I guess, what the Steelers are offering back, because they're not giving him just for nothing. They're going to want. They said apparently I'm hearing they want George Pickens, and maybe a pick or two, in this deal to go back to the 49ers. And apparently, it doesn't. You would have think by now it would have gotten fleshed out. I feel like the longer this goes, it kind of feels like that maybe what the Steelers are offering, the 49ers like, we'll just match it. We'll give you a 2-year extension on your deal. Then we'll let you test free agency when that deal is up. We'll give you the money now. I don't know. It's been weird because it's like we're getting ready to go into preseason game 1. Ayuk hasn't been to mini camp. He hasn't been to training camp. Like, he hasn't been like, for him, if he were to get traded right now to go into somebody else's camp and they got less than 2 weeks to get, fleshed out before the season even starts, getting used to a new quarterback, moving to going from San Francisco to Pittsburgh, just getting used to the fans there, the drive to work or finding a place to live, getting used to the different cadences, all that stuff that comes with it, trying to get acclimated to the team, trying to find, just to go out with, the teammates and stuff. Like, there's a lot involved now because of the time frame. Every day this drags out, the more it looks like he's going to stay in San Francisco. To me, it feels like they're just going to give him a 2-year extension or just give him a year extension or something like that. We'll pay you, not a franchise tag kind of situation, but we'll pay you whatever to shut you up kind of thing. Just get in the building so we can go try to win a Super Bowl this year. I know we've seen it. This happens a lot every year where the players, it feels like they're going to go to this team and then never happens, never gets done. I personally think, I will get you guys' opinion. I think he's going to stay with the 49ers at this point. I don't think it gets done. I don't think the 49ers, I don't think the Steelers in their nature, because of Antonio Brown, he was like the last wide receiver they paid. We saw the Steelers normally don't pay guys this kind of money outside of the quarterback. They just don't. And TJ Watt, they don't really do that. And you got Russell Wilson on a cheap deal. You got Justin Fields cheap. Paying him Justin Jefferson kind of money just doesn't seem feasible to me. And if Ayuk is really dead set on his number, it kind of feels like when the market out there is telling you there's levels to this. And while you have the production and you do have good numbers, a lot of it is it's the eye test. When you look at Justin Jefferson, you look at Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's like they pretty much electric. There are a lot of times where Brandon Ayuk will get his numbers and it's quiet. It's like, oh, I didn't know he had 120 yards receiving today. It's quiet. Wouldn't know. So a lot of it's the eye test too. They're just looking like, yeah, it's the numbers, but we don't run on that kind of offense here. Like, we're gonna run the ball. Like, we got Tyler Warren, we got Warren, we got Najee Harris, we got Freiermuth. We're gonna run the ball. We're gonna be more power football than we are what you're doing over there. So I don't know. I think he's gonna stay at San Fran. What do you guys think?
I hope he stays in San Fran. I mean, I would definitely not. I don't want obviously to see Steelers get any type of competitive advantage over us or just in the AFC North in general. So I would obviously prefer him stay where he is. But it does seem to be getting a little nasty over there. Just the fact that they don't have anything done yet and the team isn't really showing that good faith and giving him whatever he's asking for. If they do get something done and it's not what he's asking for, their relationship still ain't going to be the greatest over there. So, it's kind of one of those things where hopefully they can figure it out. But, anybody but Pittsburgh, I didn't want him to go to Cleveland when Cleveland when it seemed like Cleveland was close. And I think they were even mentioning like giving up Amari Cooper and getting him. So like either way, it would have sucked for us, but I think inevitably that the Niners are going to get something done. The fact that, like you said, Miles, earlier, if it's not done now, which we thought it would have been done, because it sounded like it was almost a
Yeah,
sure thing maybe
sure
a few
thing.
days ago, and the way that they're kind of backing off of that, obviously there's something that the Steelers don't want to bend on as far as the deal. So I hope that stays how it is, and I hope he does stay in San Fran, but we'll see. Like I said, I would have loved to have him, but obviously he must be commanding something that multiple teams at this point, almost three teams at this point, are not willing to give. So whatever they're asking for, whatever he's asking for must be crazy. Hopefully, it doesn't come back to bite him in the butt, because it seems like his agent is hard pressed on getting something crazy done.
Right.
But yeah, stay out of the AFC North unless you come to Baltimore, man.
Listen, man, I don't think he's going to either team. I don't think he's staying with the 49ers. This reminds me of like those trades that happen where it's like it's so sold on these couple teams and they can't work it out. Then this third team just swoops on in and they get the guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be another team. I wish it was the Ravens. I'm not even going to lie. I wish it was the Ravens. Swoop in there, send Bateman over to San Fran, throw in some draft picks, bring Ayuk home to Baltimore, because this is where you should be and make some plays. But, I mean, if he goes to the Steelers, I understand why. I mean, they can afford it with the cheap quarterback contracts, but, I mean, why? It's not going to move the needle. I mean, you still have a quarterback issue. Russ hasn't practiced yet. And Justin Fields, even though they're on the hype train with Justin Fields, we see what that man can do. He's not surviving the AFC North playing the way he plays. He's no Lamar Jackson. So I don't know. I don't see it playing out. I think it's going to be a third team. I don't want him to come to AFC North, just like you said, Trey. Like, I don't want him here, but I'm not worried if he's here, because I mean, we beat the Bengals and they have a top 3 receiver in the league. So I'm not sweating it either way. But I do hope like there's still a play for us to make. We have salary cap. We have the ability to restructure. I would love to see us make a play for a receiver, because I don't know who the heck Russell Gage is and why he's here. But I would love to see us go get Ayuk.
Yeah, I mean, this is you know what the Ravens do. This is where receivers go to retire. We either retire with receivers, we get like the last 2 years out of them, or we just pick up guys. We pick up those third, fourth guys on somebody else's team. Yeah. So unless so we got lucky with Zay. We got lucky with Zay. I think he was showed out for us for sure. And we're waiting to see on Bateman and stuff. But yeah, it's that I agree with you, Travis. It feels like there's a third team in here that no one's talking about, and it's just going to pop up. Yeah, he got traded to this team. I feel like if it doesn't happen, I think at this point, if it doesn't happen by next week, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think it's just too short of a time to try to get stuff turned around as far as getting him in camp and getting him acclimated to the team. Where look, the NFL, unlike a lot of the other sports, they have 80, 100 games they can play to kind of get things going. You only got, set 18 games now. It's 18 games to actually get stuff going, and only one bye week. So you don't have a lot of times, especially if you're let's say the Steelers or the Browns. If you're got Ayuk there, you traded all this stuff for him. He's not producing the way he needs to those first few weeks. It could be problems, and you not getting out of your division and not making the playoffs. So it's like, yeah. So if nothing gets done, I think in the next 3 days, next 72 hours, nothing gets done by like the end of this weekend, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think they'll work out something with the 49ers. They'll be all kumbaya and back in the building. Look, we remember this with Lamar back in March. Lamar asked for a trade. We were all, I'm pretty sure, crying to the pillow. I know I was crying to the pillow. Thinking Lamar was going to be out of here. Lamar didn't send like a thank you, Baltimore, thing out on Instagram and stuff. I thought it was done. And then after Jalen Hurts gets his deal, they get Lamar's done in like 48 hours. I think it was like 2 days later, Lamar got signed his contract. So look, I think a lot of this is Harbaugh. It's a business. At the end of the day, it's no hard feelings. It is what it is. The team has, as they say, the way these contracts are set up. Especially he's on a rookie contract, so the way the contract set up, they have his rights. I mean, they could franchise him for the next 2 years if they want to. They don't have to do anything with Ayuk at this point. They don't have to do anything. So we'll see what happens there. I hope. Yeah, again, I don't care if he comes to the North or not. I don't care if he comes to the North or not. Whatever. Now, if he comes to the Ravens, great. Don't be wrong. Now, if the Ravens are that dark horse
we'll
team,
take him. Yeah,
the Ravens are that dark horse team. Let's go. But I'm like, he goes. I'm not worried about Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So let's go to the QB market versus everyone else. This is, I guess, a segue from our last what we just talked about, and it just feels like every other position, and I'll say this outside of maybe edge rusher, really has to just do all this extra stuff to get their money, right? It's like whenever a position player outside of a quarterback has to hold in or hold out, it just drags and drags and drags, and it feels like it's nothing happening. We saw when Lamar, once he asked for a trade, they got that. I think it happened within a couple weeks. Once that stuff happened and Lamar dragged the trade, they're like, all right, go out there and see what the market is. Jalen gets his money. Bam. He's done. It's over. He got signed. Highest paid at that time, highest paid player, a quarterback in the NFL. Great. It felt like when Saquon was in New York, they wouldn't pay him his money. AJ Brown wouldn't get paid by the Titans, so he had to go to Philly to get his money, get traded to get his money. Devontae now, look, he wants to get new money now in his contract, going forward. Tyreek Hill just got new money, but I think he is the Dolphins offense. But it feels like everybody outside the quarterback has to fight. Trevor Lawrence didn't have to fight for his contract. That man got highest. It felt like every week a new quarterback was getting a new deal and becoming the highest paid. Tua got his money. I think Jared Goff got his money, but I think his was deserved. But it feels like because there's only one quarterback, there's only one guy on the team at that level that can do what he does. Versus there can be 3 wide receivers, there's 3 running backs, there's 3 tight ends, there's like 3 of everybody on the team outside of the quarterback, and it feels like teams are just kind of like, the market's not that high for you. We've seen the running back market's just been dropping consistently over the last couple of years. And the wide receiver market, while it's going up, it still feels more merit-based. Like you're seeing the guys get the money, you're like, I can see why he got that money. I can see why I get that money. Versus when you're looking at guys like Trevor Lawrence, I'm like, what has he done to get this money? Why is he getting, like, he's good, but he's not Lamar. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes. Like with all these new contracts, Patrick Mahomes has dropped down on the list as far as what was our top earner. So it's like, it just feels like there's like, if you can be average at quarterback and get paid, because as long as you're good enough to win 9-10 games, not necessarily good in the playoffs, but you win 9 to 10 games, you're going to make top dollar. If it's your time, you're going to make top dollar. Versus you look at Brandon Ayuk, who's been posting 1,000-yard seasons with the last 2 years. He's fighting for a contract right now. They can't pay him. Bengals have not paid Jamar Chase yet. You would think a guy like if Justin Jefferson got paid, Jamar would be the next guy to get paid. They said you look at the numbers of Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, they're like pretty close to each other. But Jamar Chase I think he's still holding out. And he's not even at the end of his rookie contract yet, but he's like, I've played definitely up to beyond this rookie contract. My friend over there in Minnesota, teammate, he just got paid. Why am I not getting paid? You're not going to pay T. Higgins. They still got Trey Henderson, I think, is also in the Bengals, still holding out. He hasn't been paid. It seems like every other position has to do all this extra stuff to get their money. And even then, it's like when they get ready when the season comes, they're like panicking because I got to play. I don't want to start making game checks. I got to play, and then they sign for less money, and then it's just a bad relationship. So I'm like, do you think this self-corrects at some point? That at any point it self-corrects with the quarterback market? Because it just feels like there are a lot of guys that are getting paid top dollar that shouldn't be. It feels like every other position knows there are tiers to what you're going to get paid. Versus quarterback, there are no tiers. As long as you're winning 10 games, we'll pay you $180 million, $200 million. You'll get that money. Do you think this stuff corrects itself at some point? Are you muted? You might be muted, Trey.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it's a tough question, but I do think at some point it will self-correct, but I think it's going to take something catastrophic for it to do so. I think, and I mean, you might have a chance to see it at some point this season. I don't know, but one of these contracts, I mean, we've kind of seen, the Deshaun Watson deal, and for example, and how that kind of had the market going haywire, but the market didn't necessarily follow that per se. But and Deshaun, is not like he crashed out completely. Like he was injured a little bit, and he's still there. Like he still has the opportunity to prove that he was worth the deal, or whatever the case may be. Not saying that he will, but we just don't know. But we're just at a point where the QB position is being paid just for the value of the position alone.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously talent is important, but we're in a crossroads where if not me, then who? So every agent of a starting quarterback in the league right now has that argument to broker these deals, because at the end of the day, yeah, Trevor Lawrence does he deserve that money? It's hard for me to say that he doesn't, because if it ain't Trevor Lawrence, who else they're going to have? So it's kind of like, the QB market is kind of completely different from the market of all these other positions, because, it's such an irreplaceable value at that position. And the whole entire team is kind of built around that position as well. So it's kind of tough. It's like, if you earn a starting spot as a QB in an NFL team, you kind of hit the jackpot. It's just a matter of timing, and if you're in the right place at the right time when it's your turn. And have you won enough games for us, to justify, like you said, if you win about 10 games or plus, you're valuable to that organization. So it's more about the value of the position. It's less about the talent, unfortunately. I mean, you can't be no scrub, obviously, but it's definitely less about the talent of the position, because I mean that's really what you're seeing across the league. When it's your turn, it's your turn. Guys are making more money now than Lamar. Lamar, had the highest contract for about a couple of weeks or something like that. Like, when it's your turn, it's just your turn, and they're always going to have the argument of being irreplaceable. So I think that's just what's happening. As far as the market correcting itself, I think it probably will have to at some point. And I think it'll take, like I said, one of those examples where, someone got paid top dollar and they're just no longer supporting that deal. But, you still got the man that's right underneath him still holding that market up the way it is. So it's like, it's kind of like catch-22 there. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's not like the salary cap decreases every year. Salary cap is still increasing every season. So agents are still going to have, they're still going to have that going for them as far as negotiating these deals. And the last thing a team wants to do is lose their starting quarterback. So they kind of just have the leverage in that case, and it just kind of is what it is until it ain't. And I don't know what it's going to take for it not to be the case anymore. But, until the quarterback position value changes, then I don't see it happening. You see how the running back position has been diminished and what's happening to that market. So until the value of the position diminishes, I don't think we're going to see too many changes to, not soon at least. It ain't going nowhere at this point. At this point, QB is king, and they're getting paid like it. So I don't see it changing no time soon. It's unfortunately just going to be at the expense of other positions, and you're seeing that happening with teams across the league now.
Yeah, the QB market, man, it just reminds me of car insurance, man. Like the value can get driven up so much, the price can get. Did I somebody mute me?
You
No.
bet. You back now?
So these assets that we value, such as like the quarterback is the asset on the football team. You know, it's never going to be the running back. Like there's just so many of the other positions that you can find somebody. But when it comes to the quarterback, that's your valuable asset. So the market could get driven either which way. We're seeing it in real life. Like, you know, I have to have insurance on my car or I go to jail.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't drive it. I can't run my organization without my quarterback. So they can drive that market up as much as possible, but devalue everything else. And that's exactly what you see in the NFL. I mean, they're an asset that you have to have. And it's crazy seeing the running back market go down because I remember when running backs were getting paid, and the Jamal Charles era, Adrian Peterson era, and now you're seeing the market deflate all the way down to be comparable with like the fullback and the tight. Well, maybe not even the tight end market anymore, but the fullback market.
It's like under $10 million now. It feels like it's
like you look at the running back, the same that you look at an inside linebacker, you know, and it's sad to see, just because you can just get them dime a dozen, but it's sad to see that guys have to struggle, and so much of the percentage of the salary cap goes to one position because it makes it hard for the other guys to make a living for themselves. Especially now that there's so much transparency and we find out how much these guys make after taxes, especially the jock taxes. Like, you know, look, I can't have too much sympathy because they're definitely making more money than us.
Right.
But
sure,
I'll take whatever they got after taxes. I'll take it. I'll take
it. It's kind of sad. So, I mean, you see the quarterback take the least amount of contact in an NFL game, and then you see like linebackers, linemen, tight ends, wide receivers, they're all like they're taking a licking like throughout the NFL game, throughout the season, and they're getting injured left and right. I'm not saying that quarterbacks don't get injured, but there's less of a risk because you're standing in the pocket protected. You're not initiating contact. You know, you're not blindsided in a violent way as the receivers or the tight ends or other positions are. Nobody's cracking back on you. Like it's a very relatively protected position, and it's a position that gets paid more but receives less of a toll on the body, which is unfair. It's definitely unfair. And I don't see it changing until the players take a stand, and maybe we see a world in the future where certain positions are allotted a certain percentage of the salary cap, because right now that doesn't exist. So the market can continue to go up, unless they get to a model where it's similar to the NBA, where there's a max on what you can make.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. They were talking about like maybe there's a remedy. It probably won't happen to the next CBA, but maybe there's a remedy where at a certain point, like the quarterback salary can only count but so much against the cap, and then whatever else is extra is like, I don't know, owner pays, or I don't know. It's like something where it's like they're capped at a certain percentage where it doesn't like say cripple the team, because I feel like for a team like the Ravens, right? For a team like the Ravens, for a team like the Eagles, for the Detroit Lions, you know, so those teams like that, like you feel like you're getting your worth out of your QB. But it feels like for other teams where these guys are getting paid top dollar, you're not getting your worth out of your QB, and this guy's getting paid all this money. Kirk Cousins has made I don't know how much money now over the last 6-7 years between the Commanders, the Vikings, and now the Falcons. This man tore his Achilles and still got paid top dollar for the Atlanta Falcons, like you guys said, because of the scarcity, right? Because there's only, if not me, then who? You know, so and because Kirk Cousins has proven, I may not be able to win you games on Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football, but I can win, keep us competitive, you know. Maybe we'll make the playoffs, you know, maybe, but you know, but again, when you look at the rankings for quarterbacks, there's like 5 guys. It's like 5 or 6 guys. And then there's everybody else. That's what it is in the NFL. Like there's 5 or 6 guys, and then it's everybody else. So it's like you got 32 teams, so you got to have somebody to play quarterback. I agree with you guys on that. But I think it's it's getting to a point now, like you said, Travis, where they're taking so much of the cap now, you can't even keep the good players you have on your team. Like you now either have to trade them within 4 years, or you just hope they're just so in love with the city or so in love with the team, and kind of old school mentality where they're just like, no, I'm going to stay like a Mike Trout with the Angels. I'm just going to stay here regardless of what happens. I'm just going to stay here and play my entire career out. But you're seeing in the NFL especially, guys aren't doing that anymore. Guys are they're not even waiting to the end of their rookie contracts now. Like you're seeing it now, guys are getting 3 years into their rookie contracts. I want new money or I want out now. Like, and you can't blame them. Like, you're putting the numbers, you're putting up the numbers. You're an all-pro at your position, but yet your quarterback can't even make the Pro Bowl. He's there as an alternate. He's like the fourth alternate because the other players are playing in the playoffs. And he's like, yeah, I'll be the alternate. I'll play in the Pro Bowl. I'm the best player in this team, but yet he's making $30 million more than I am. That feels like a crime. Like it feels like a crime. And I feel like you're going to start seeing that over time in some of these teams where they're looking like, this guy's one of the best players on our team. This guy's one of the best players on our team. You guys are literally dragging him through this entire process, but you gave the quarterback who he throws like 20 interceptions a season. But you paid him top dollar without him even asking. Y'all just paid him all this money. But yet the star player on our team has got to literally hold in, hold out. He's got to do all this stuff. He's got to say, I want to trade to even get his money. So it's
perfect example was Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Dimes.
Yeah. It's like they literally watching the Giants off season. Was it on Hard Knocks? Seeing the clips and stuff of them literally discuss them not wanting to lose Saquon Barkley, but like letting him walk anyway. The GM on the phone with Saquon saying, yeah, we're going to let you test the market. Did you really think Saquon was just going to sit? Did you really think Saquon was going to go back to New York, knowing he's one of the star running backs in the league and knowing how much the teams in your own division like to run the football? There's no way he was coming back to New York. The owner came in, I remember, and said was like, well, he's our top. He's like one of our. He didn't say our best player. He's like he's one of our fan favorites or something like that. So I don't even see these guys as some of these front offices are.
We lose him?
Yeah, the rain got him.
Oh. Am I back?
Yeah, you back.
Waiting for your picture to unfreeze,
Hello.
but I can hear you now. All right. We can see you.
Okay.
Might have to close out them other tabs.
Yeah.
We good.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just trying to, I don't know. It's
Tony, that rain hating on you, Miles.
Raining on your parade, brother.
Raining on your parade, literally.
Yeah. But yeah, it is what it is, man. I think I don't really see it going anywhere. That's just the name of the game at this point. Can't do nothing without the QB. So
At all.
they're just gonna lean on that.
Yeah, that's the focal point of the NFL team, man. And like Corey's, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, unless we put like max salary restrictions similar to the NBA, it's gonna keep on climbing.
Yeah,
keep on climbing.
And I can't see any of the players fighting for nothing like that, because it's like, what player's gonna fight against, because that's hurting. That will only really be hurting the QB position, because the QB position right now is you make however much they offer you.
Yeah.
So I mean,
something got to happen though, because I mean, look at Daniel Jones, man.
That's what I was saying. That was my example. I'm like, Danny Dimes, like the fact that he got paid what he got paid, and he literally put up a horrible product.
He barely played after.
Yeah,
my man. They're really about to draft another quarterback while paying this man $25 a year. Is that what he's making? $25 billion a year?
Something.
No,
crazy.
He's making 40.
He's making 40. No. Yeah, he making a lot. He got overpaid.
40 a year.
Yeah, he getting,
92 million guaranteed to not do anything.
yeah, he getting paid like he putting up numbers,
Yeah.
and he lost their running back in the process. So
They were
Yeah.
about to draft Drake May to replace this man making 40 million a year. That's wild. That's insane.
diabolical, as they say.
Yeah, diabolical word right there.
Right.
All right. I guess we'll go on to the next one. Hey, new year, everybody talks about breakthrough players who's going to have a breakout season this year, and they're going to talk about the guys that need to step up. So, Trey, who are your Ravens that need to step up this season?
Ravens that need to step up. Odafe Oweh, Ajabo. Actually, to name on defense, I would just go with those two right now. I think for the most part, everybody else has been pretty decent. I think Marlon needs to kind of return to form a little bit. I don't think he's going to be playing on the outside too much, but even on the inside, I think, it's been a couple of years now where I don't know if we've seen him at the form that we would like to see him at. I know he was injured a little bit last year as well, but I would like to see, some big stuff out of Marlon. I mean, I like that he was juiced up at training camp the other day. It seems like he has a lot of energy coming into the season. Obviously, I want to see more build up from Kyle Hamilton, but I probably won't put him in a need to step up category because he's already been doing it. I think we're seeing Kyle Hamilton even last season at an elite level. I think he can maintain that, if not be even better than he was last year. But my main players to step up is number one, our D line. Outside of Meta BK, I just want to see sacks this year. We were in the right direction last year. I'm not going to say that, but individually, I would like to see more from Odafe Oweh and Ajabo. Those two guys on the D line, and like I said, our D line in general, outside of Meta BK, who we know we're going to get out of him. Hopefully, he can maintain what he did last year with all that bread, though. So now that he got paid, I want to see the same, the same production, if not better. So that's probably who needs to step up. Rashad Bateman. I mean, this is a conversation that's been every single season at this point since Bateman's been in the league. When he's been healthy, at least, is Rashad Bateman to step up. But we say that every year. But come on, this has to be the year for Rashad Bateman. I think it's now or never at this point. It's now or we move on from the Rashad Bateman project, because at this point it seems like a project. So obviously, from him, Zay Flowers, I have nothing to say about him. I wouldn't fit him in this category. He's already exceeded expectations just off of his rookie season alone. And I think that would be it as far as just who needs to step up, because outside of that, I think everybody else is pretty much played to their expectations. Everyone has pretty much look good, but as far as step up, and we're kind of running thin on patience with, I have to give it to Oweh, Ajabo. Rashad Bateman might be at the top of the list for me, honestly. If we're honestly speaking, he might be at the top of the list, or he might be tied with Oweh. I don't know. But those guys are going to step up because we have a void to fill at this point. Like the fact that Rashad Bateman's number 2 on the depth chart, I feel like they just kind of gave it to him. Is he really number 2? I don't know. We'll see this season. Like they put him at number 2, I think, just because they respect him. But he's going to have to show me number 2, because he should be number 1 in all actuality. He was also drafted high, just like Zay Flowers was drafted high. So we expect him to be a number 1. But yeah, and Corey likely continue to get better. Absolutely, likely looked great last year. Continue to see more of the same from him. And yeah, so those are my 3: Oweh, Jabo, Bateman on the top of the mountain.
Yeah, you made me want to rank mine now.
I didn't want to. I really didn't want to, but when I talk about Rashad Bateman, I get annoyed almost at this point, because it's just like we talk about Rashad Bateman every single year, and we like Rashad Bateman. Like we want to see him elevate. We want to see him stay healthy. So, hopefully he can stay healthy, number 1. But we just need to see more out of him.
Yeah, no, that's facts. Shoot, if I was to go, I think I got four.
Okay.
So if I was to go four, number 4 would be Marlon. Marlon, he got to step up. I know a lot of it is health, and I know he's looked good in camp, but like he is such a valuable part of our defense because if we go to his All-Pro year, he makes so many plays.
Mhm.
Like you're talking about like the forced fumbles,
Turnovers,
tackles, solid coverage, and I think as we're bringing in this young rookie who with the 3X jersey on, he just got to step up. My man got to step up. So I need to see Marlon, put something together this year and really, have a great season. Also, I would say my number 3 would probably have to be same as you, like our edge rushers. I would say more Owe than Ajabo. Just because the expectations are so low for Ajabo.
That's true.
So I would say with Ajabo, he's gonna put him out to the side. But Owe, he's such a critical piece. He's the starter right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's the starter, and we want to make sure that he is making big plays all season. And he hasn't done it consistently, but he showed us those flashes.
Right.
And the fact that he showed us those flashes give us hope.
Yeah.
But they're talking up big with him. Like they got me excited. Like he's not almost, he's all the way there. And I feel like he's gonna have a strong season. But with us losing Clowney, and Benoit getting older, and we really just need that pass rush. We can't just rely on interior pressure. We need him off the edge. He's solid against the run. That is his strength. He's probably the most solid edge rusher we've had probably since like Terrell Suggs, Courtney Upshaw, Judon.
Yeah.
So we really need him to step up. So that's my number 3. Number 2, all the right guards on the roster.
How could I have forgotten any of them? But yes, all of them. I agree.
Ben, Game of Thrones, Cleveland.
Oh my gosh! Hold up, time out real quick. Time out. Seeing him in person, were you like not more confused about why he hasn't been good?
He's a whole mountain. That man, he is a whole mountain of muscle.
Yeah.
Oh
There's no reason he shouldn't be throwing guys all over the field. I don't know. The guy must have like just a soft mentality because there's no reason he isn't good. So
it's crazy.
Ben, Game of Thrones, the Mountain, Cleveland. Then Falafel. This has to be the year for Falafel, all right? Or he's cooked. Like, there's no reason. Cooked. Yeah. Like, I mean, just like Cleveland. Did you see how big Falafel was out there?
Mm-hmm.
Pause. But like the guy is like he has all the physical tools to be good. He changed his body so he can move a lot better. Like it's set up for him to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to go out there and play. And it's going to be critical for us. We need a right guard to get into that offensive line and play well. Because at worst, at right tackle, we have Makari. At center, we're good for years. Left guard, it looks like Voorhees is ready to go. Stanley at left tackle, apparently he's the healthiest he's ever been in life. But right guard, that's the glaring hole in this offensive line. So I need one of those two to step up. And then number 1, Rashad Bateman. Not Batman. He's more like Robin, or he's looking like a Joker. But this guy got to step up, man. Rashad Bateman got to step up. I mean, I was so disappointed. All the hype that we had, that we just saw him do the same thing when we show up to camp. Oh, like, we still can't connect with this man. Like, watching Rashad Bateman, like, and Lamar play together is like trying to put, like, the old iPhone lightning cable into a USB-C slot. You know what I mean? It just don't connect. It don't work right together. So like it's sad because he like underran a little, and I think another one like he was battling the DB. But it's like, man, I need to see you make a play, bro. I need you to make a play. So this is the year. This is the 4th year, right? 4th year?
Yeah,
fourth year.
Well,
they gave him that, was it 2-year? extension, so it's the fourth year.
in the NFL.
Yeah,
fourth year for him, and for I think it's always fourth year as well. I think both of them.
Yeah. Man, this is the year for Rashad Bateman. If it don't happen this year, it's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. He is going to go play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and be the 5th receiver, and then be out of the league in 3 years. Like that's what it's going to be. Like he has to show improve this year, or we're going to have to move on. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if we moved on now. Like go make that IU trade. But this has got to be the year he steps up and makes plays. He was drafted to be the number 1 receiver. Year 4, he's struggling to be the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be here. You got to step up. We need a good size X receiver, man. Like
and Rashad Bateman, don't not play well and not sign autographs after practice, dog. Don't go straight to the locker room next time, man. You need to be signing autographs.
He needs as fan support as he can get at this point. On his team. Yes, having technical issues.
Yeah, all good.
Was kicking your
ass. For players, or players and coaches, whatever, that need to step up this year. I'm gonna go with. I think I need something from Ojabo. It's been a little disheartening to hear that in camp again. Like I said earlier, that he hasn't been flashing, that he hasn't been like eyes wide open, like the defense, like, man, yeah, this guy's he's gonna be something special this season, and they're just kind of like, And it's like, here we go again. You know, they drafted Oweh 1 year, and then Ojabo the next year, who was supposed to be a first-round draft pick. You know, then he hurt his knee, obviously at his pro day, and then we're hoping like, okay, he got hurt beginning of last season. Another layover, like, okay, it's 2 years now. You've had him in the building. Let's see something. Feel like we haven't seen it. Again, maybe we'll see it in this preseason game against the Eagles. Maybe we'll see something. But they were saying even last year before the season started in the preseason games, he was going against 3rd, 4th stringers and looked completely just inept. I remember watching those preseason games last season, and he would be in there, and he struggled. He looked like he was just struggling to get around the tackle. Like he's the way his body frame and everything else is set up. I'm like, he's set up to be a speed rusher. Like that's what he's supposed to be. And he can't get past. And these are, again, the 3rd, 4th string guys that were going to get cut anyway. And he wasn't getting past them. So I'm like, I'm hoping to see something from him preseason. I know there's going to be some of a ramp up period again, because he did get hurt earlier last year and we didn't really, really utilize him. So I don't know if it's maybe he just needs time. Maybe he needs a few more game reps to get used to it or something. Again, they have, was it Dr. Sack in there back there, helping guys, get to the quarterback and stuff. He's helped Matt BK. We saw what happened with Clowney, Calvin. We saw Arthur Millette. We saw a lot of guys. He worked with a lot of players on that team whose job is to sack the quarterback or attack the quarterback. So if their positions like, you're going to be on nickel blitzes and you're going to be on edge rusher, you're going to blitz the middle of the field. Like he works with all those guys on moves and everything else to get to the quarterback. And if at this point, if we've seen guys like Calvin, I know he's been in the league for around 10 years now, and Clowney, who's been, a journeyman in this league for this point, had his best career in Baltimore last season. If we've seen these guys perform well with this new this guy in-house now, and you're not producing, I got to see something from you. I got to see Lamar Jackson take it to another level. We've seen, Lamar's won 2 MVPs, right? He's been the best player in the NFL. Almost if he's healthy, he's one of the best players. That's not the best player in the NFL on the field, like every season, every game. But to get to that next level where he's considered a Pat Mahomes level, because I don't know how many times I've watched these shows, and every time they break down who's better, who would you consider the number 2 quarterback in the NFL outside of under Pat Mahomes, they always either put Joe Burrow or Josh Allen above Lamar, and it's never a question. It's never like, maybe I'll waffle, maybe I'll pick. No, it's always Josh Allen or Joe Burrow, because it's the arm thing. They always look at Lamar Jackson as the running quarterback and stuff like that, and that's not to his fault. That's his game. But we know that Lamar, even he knows he could have made some better throws in the AFC Championship game. We know there were opportunities for Lamar to take it and run and make plays in the AFC Championship game.
And it may have been in his own head. It may have been Harbaugh. It may have been Monken. I don't know, a combination of everything where he just got away from his game and felt like he had to do something very different. I think Lamar has to – we know you can win MVP now, but now we need to see you go win the whole thing. We got to go see you take it to that next level. As we said, I think if Lamar Jackson can start becoming a little bit more accurate in the deep pass game, this offense can just go to a whole another level. If you have Lamar Jackson that can potentially take off and run 30, 40 yards, you got Derrick Henry back there, but now he can throw accurately to Bateman downfield. He can throw to Likely downfield. He can throw to Zay downfield. Now you got a whole other arsenal now of weaponry. You can really open up the middle of the field at that point because now you got safeties going back because they're afraid of Lamar and throwing the ball 50 yards down the field. So I got to see Lamar take it to that next level. I got to see it. Lamar's got, I think at this point, I think if Lamar plays his game, then no one can stop him. But he's got to get out of his own head. Forget about what Harbaugh says. Monken's going to give you a game plan, but at the end of the day, we saw in the AFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl with Pat Mahomes, he wasn't necessarily he didn't throw the ball that great in the Super Bowl. He did run a lot. He ran, he got some first downs and things. He did what he needed to do to win the football game. And I think that's what Lamar needs to focus on in playoffs. Forget about what the pundits are saying. Forget about all the noise and all that other stuff about you being a running quarterback. Go win the football game. And all that matters is you win the football game. Let the talking heads do all the talking stuff. Let them do all that. But if you get the Super Bowl at the end of the year raising that trophy, there's not much more else they can say about you at that point. They've been saying for years that a guy like Lamar can't win a Super Bowl. You cannot win a Super Bowl with a guy like Lamar Jackson. And I think this is the year to go ahead and do that. And him, bringing up Jacoby Jones, saying, he passed away, and Jacoby Jones always hung around the team, still talk to the guys, and him passing away. So suddenly the Super Bowl is back in New Orleans this year. Lamar kind of has it in his own head. We want to do this for 12. I think that's be a great motivator for this team and for him to get to that next level. And number one for me to step up this year is John Harbaugh. I'll start with John Harbaugh. Since Ray Lewis and Ed Reed have left this team, it has been average at best. They've been making the playoffs. They get to the wild card. They won the division a few times, but it never really felt like outside of last season. This past season, I think all of us felt like this was the year. We all felt like this is the team that's going to get it done. Like we felt like, I think after that Texans game and they came back at halftime and they made their adjustments, like, all right, they're going to Super Bowl. There, you couldn't tell any Ravens fan after that Texans game, they're not making it to the Super Bowl. And then go to the AFC Championship game against Andy Reid. And I think the defensive coordinator, I can't remember his name right now, that they have in Kansas City. And totally just wet the bed. Completely wet the bed. Only ran the ball 6 times. You have one of the best rushing attacks in the league. And it wasn't, we realized, looking back on it, this wasn't the first time this happened. This has been several times in the playoffs where Harbaugh and the offense decided, we're not going to run the football. The one thing we've been doing better than anybody all season, we're not going to run the football this in the playoffs. It feels like he gets out of his own. He wants to be considered like a Sean McVay. Like he wants to be considered like Kyle Shanahan, like an Andy Reid. He wants to be considered one of those guys. I feel like he wants to be one. I want to be an offensive guru. Forget all that stuff. Forget all of that stuff. Go win the football game. You see what the offense or the defense is giving you. You go play the football game. And look, the defense didn't play a great game either. In that game, letting Kelsey get off 100 yards receiving in that game. So they got to make some steps too. But it was glaring on the offensive side of the ball that the offense didn't look anything like it did in the regular season. So I feel like at this point, we got Lamar's new contract. You understand what Likely can bring to this team and Andrews. And I'll say Harbaugh and Monken. Other coaches in general. Harbaugh, Monken, and Zach Orr. Zach Orr is going to be coaching for the first time, at least calling plays for the first time this season. Monken has to find a way to start utilizing Likely and Andrews in this offense. Derrick Henry as well. And when Keaton gets in there as well, he's going to have to start making adjustments probably mid-season. And Harbaugh is going to have to start getting out of his own head, not getting scared of Andy Reid every time he sees Andy Reid across the field. and actually just like, you know what? Let's go win this football game. Forget all the noise. Forget about whatever. I want to do this. I want Lamar to throw 400 yards. I want to throw 4 touchdowns. Let's go. I don't care if Lamar throws for 230 yards and runs for 120. I don't care. As long as you win the football game. Last time I checked, all the yards count the same. You don't get double yards just because you threw it in the air. All the yards count the same. So I don't care if he gets it on the ground. I don't care if he gets it in the air. Go win the football game. So I'm hoping the Ravens this year just kind of like just get out of their own way. They've been getting in their own way for the last few years. I think under John Harbaugh, they've been getting in their own way, not playing their own football game and trying to like you go in Madden and pick another team's playbook because you think that's going to work for this game. Play your game. It's been working for you. You got this record. You've been dominating the entire season. Go win the football game. That's what I need. That's what I need to say. But yeah. All right, that's a good show right there. I gotta go pick up my kids, so that's fine. Yeah, so good show, and we'll get the game I think Friday. So Friday we'll come and talk about what we saw there. We'll just get ready for this season coming up. So thanks again for watching. We'll catch you guys later.
Peace.
Peace.